So I'm the director of the Counseling Center here on campus, and I've been working with student athletes for my tenure here for over 10 years in that mental health capacity. And so some of the services we provide to student athletes is counseling. So we provide that mental health counseling for when they're struggling. I also provide a lot of consultation to both our athletes and also our coaches and athletic personnel for when students are struggling and they're kind of like, I don't know what to do. Where do I reach out for help? I can provide those answers and those resources to them. I also help with programming on campus as well around mental health to raise awareness, how to recognize when people are struggling, and then how to cope when they're struggling as well. Yeah, so one of the things we're trying to get more resources and more help with providing resources around mental health for our student athletes. So one of the things that we developed is Rams Let's Talk and Rams Let's Walk, which is our 5K that we have at the beginning of the semester to raise funds for resources. So we now have a GA who helps with the different programming and different things like that. And so my vision is to build more resources. Like I'm a very small piece in what I can provide to athletics. I would be wonderful to have a full-time counselor working with athletics. And then even beyond that of like having more than one full-time person providing those resources to our athletes in the athletic department. So there's usually a different number of referral sources. The athletic trainers, sometimes refer student athletes to me. It could be coaches, or it could be another athlete, or maybe it's the athlete themselves. So they usually reach out to me and say, hey, I'm interested, or hey, I have somebody who's interested. And I connect with them. I schedule them for an initial appointment with myself or another very qualified counselor in the counseling center. We kind of talk about what's going on, and then we get them set up with resources, whether that's in the counseling center for ongoing counseling, or maybe we connect them with somebody off campus who can provide more resources than the counseling center may have. Yeah, so we do have our case manager in our counseling center who helps students get connected. So they'll meet with them, review their insurance, help make those connections, and then they actually follow up with them directly to say, like, how did it go? I also always tell athletes they can always come back to me. If you have any questions or concerns, follow up with me, and they tend to. So one of the advantages of being around as long as I have, a lot of athletes know me and they feel comfortable reaching out when they need that help and that assistance, which is why having a full-time person would be great because they have those connections and can follow up with them. Yeah, so Money Puddles is a therapy dog in the counseling center. He's also my personal dog. So he just is able to make those connections. So people may not be comfortable come approaching me, but they're comfortable approaching the dog. So he's kind of like that connector piece of kind of like people recognize me because I typically have a dog with me. They're like, oh yeah, you're the lady with the dog. Like, yeah, that's me. My name is also Rachel, but I'm also Muddy's mom. So he's that connector piece, he's visible. And I think people who like dogs feel that sense of comfort. They see a dog, they're kind of like, okay, this feels a little safe, I feel more comfortable approaching you, or even coming into the counseling center, like, okay, there's some sort of comfort there. So he helps a lot with that. And then again, just like if students miss their dog or just need a little bit of comfort, he's there for that as well. They may not need counseling, but they need just that little bit of comfort, so he's able to provide that. Yeah, and that's one of the, I really appreciate with athletes as well. They're really hardworking. And they don't like to open up and reach out oftentimes because there's that whole mentality of like no pain, no gain, no show, no weaknesses. So when I get to see that and I see the changes they've made, and then I also see how it impacts their performance on the field or the court or wherever they're performing, and seeing them perform better and that they're enjoying it more and they're happy. It really, makes me excited and feels good because not only are they performing better, but they're enjoying themselves. And that's where I always come back to of like, are you enjoying this? Are you having fun? You're putting so much time and energy into it. And I've seen it across, multiple sports, multiple athletes I've worked with. I've worked with some of the star athletes and some of the athletes who don't get any playing time. And I see that difference in them just to know they're feeling better. They're enjoying life. They're acting like college kids. It's wonderful. I think the visibility is important. And I think especially with a male athlete, I often see a lot of female athletes. I don't see as many male athletes. It helps reduce the stigma of I can reach out. It's okay to reach out. And struggling is somewhat normal. That we all struggle, and it's not an indication that there's something wrong with me. It's more an indication of like I'm going through something really hard. And so it kind of it's nice. We don't want to hear people are struggling. We don't want people to struggle, and we know people do. And it's nice when pro athletes can speak out, talk about getting help, and then we can actually help students get better rather than them like struggling and suffering on their own.